Should you focus on your strength or weaknesses? I'm sure when you hear a question on whether it's strength or weaknesses, you go back to the interviews. You remember the last interview you had, and this employer was asking you about what are your strengths or weaknesses. But today I want us to focus more than that. It's not so much about interviews, it's about you as an individual, as a professional. Should you focus on strengths or weaknesses? Because if you are self-aware, and I believe you are, because by the time you've reached where you are in your career, you know what you're good at. And there are also areas you know you're not so good at. There are areas that you need to improve on, both at a personal level and at a professional level. So I want us to look at it from a broader perspective, so that by the end of this video, I'll have empowered you so that you know where should I be focusing on. Is it my strength or my weaknesses? Now, whenever I ask many professionals this question, where should you focus on, or think of an area in your life that you'd want to improve on, majority of them, and you can even pause this video and answer, you find that the focus is on our weaknesses. That's where we'd want to get better at, because we look at ourselves and say, Perminus, I'm not good with time management, I'm not so much focused, I'm always doing 1, 2, other 3 things, I'm always having a lot to do. It could be I'm not persistent. So we always, I don't know why, I think it's the human nature, we always tend to focus on what are we not good at, as opposed to thinking about what are my strengths and how can I play to my strength. So before I share with you my answer on where you should focus, I want us to look at a broader definition of the strength and even weaknesses. And then I'll share with you the reason why you should focus on what I believe will help you most in your career. So when you talk about strength, they come in 2 forms. So this is what you're good at, and you are not really fully competent. You're not very good at. So I would say in terms of a percentage, you could be very good at this being 60 to 80% of the time. So here, there's room for growth. And if you focus on this area, then you can be better. So for example, if it's at a personal level, you find that, well, I'm able to save. I'm not earning a lot of money, but I'm able to save. But the question is, can you be able to even do better because you want to achieve this goal? Maybe you want to get into an investment. So if you are very good at saving a portion of your income, it means then you can even go to the next level in terms of savings, and that will help you achieve your goal. So there's room for growth, where we will find that we are good at doing something 60 to 80% of the time, and there we should focus on. However, also when you're talking about strength, this is what we are good at 95%. So here it's excellent. So if you are really good at something, you know you can do this thing even with your eyes closed, then there's no need to focus here. Because you can imagine now at 95%, that means you are really, really good. So, and even if you are to improve, you'd maybe get to 96% or 97%. So in that case, there's really no investment. There's no return on investment if you focus on really what you're good at. Okay? So I would say audit your strength and look at what am I good at 60 to 80% of the time, and where there's room for growth. When it comes to weaknesses, I've also categorized them into 2. So number 1, there are those things that you can work around. So a good example is at the workplace, you might find it's a responsibility, it's a task that you're supposed to perform, but you are really not good at, it's not something that excites you, but you can work around it. Why? How? It's either something that you can delegate to someone else, they can help you do this thing, or it's something that is really, it's not a deal breaker in your career. So even if you are not able to accomplish that task, even if you are not able to perform it to the best of your knowledge, it's not a deal breaker. So weakness number 1, things that you can go around. However, the second weakness, and this is where you should pay attention, a lot of attention, is things that have the potential to drag you down. And even if they don't drag you down, they have the potential to derail you. Derail. That means They'll come in between you and the goals that you've set for yourself. A good example is, let's say you are looking for a managerial position, you're looking for a promotion, you're looking to get into a leadership position. Now, the reality is, if you've never been trained, leadership is a skill. So if you've never been trained, if you don't have this as a skill, then the probability of you, getting to that high level is very minimal. So this is a skill that you definitely need to address. Why? Because if you don't address it, then it's going to affect you. Think about if you find that you're not very good at maintaining relationship, whether at a personal or professional level. What does that mean to you? For sure, that also will come in between you and the people that you interact with on a daily basis. Think also of that example I gave about personal finance. If your weakness is that the minute you get this 1,000 shilling, you don't know where the money goes. You're wondering now, I was paid last week, after I've paid rent, even for some people, even before they pay rent, they've used money in other things, in other areas. So that's a major weakness. So you might find then it doesn't matter how much you earn. At the end of the day, if you've not been able to fix that weakness in terms of money management, then whether you earn 10,000 or earn 1 million shillings, money will always be an issue. I used to work for a bank, and the advice they would give us, we weren't earning much then, the advice they would give us is, it's not how much you earn, it's how much you save. So back to weakness, look at this weakness I have. Does it have the potential of preventing me from getting to where I want to go? Does it have the potential of dragging me down? Then, still on weaknesses, there are 3 approaches when it comes to thinking of, should I focus on the weakness or forget about it? Okay, and focus on my strength. The first question you should ask yourself is, can I outsource this weakness? And I know I'm using, a big term, outsource. Outsource means, can other people help me? And here it's more in a professional setup. If you don't know something and there are other people who can be able to come through for you, there's no need for you to focus there. And especially when you get to leadership, managerial position, you not always know everything. So if you look around the team and you say, well, for me, I'm not very good at public speaking, but I can do very nice reports, I can prepare a presentation for someone, then what it means, as you aspire to improve on your public speaking skills, presentation skills, what you can do is tag along a team member who you'll support in terms of coming up with a very good presentation, and then they present. The second question you should ask yourself is, can I ignore or downplay this weakness? Because there are things you don't need to spend time on. If it's something as it could be a very small issue, but it's a weakness nevertheless. But at the end of the day, when you look at the bigger picture, is this something that you need to be concerned about? For example, here for this video, there are professionals behind it. I do have an idea of how a good video should look like, but at the end of the day, I don't need to be an expert. Why? Because there's someone who went to school for this. There are people who their work is to be a videographer, their work is to be involved in the production of this. So for me, as I sit here, I just need to know a little bit of what it takes to come up with a good video, and then the team will run with it. So if you have a weakness that you can ignore or you can downplay, then there's no need for you to focus on that. So the other question that you should ask yourself if you're looking to address a weakness is, do you have the interest? Do you have the energy? Are you keen on improving on this area? Reason being, if we are not convinced ourselves, then the probability of you investing there is very minimal. And I don't want to say that you give up on your weaknesses, that you don't fix your weaknesses, but the reality is, if you don't have the energy, if you don't have the motivation, then the likelihood of you getting a good outcome or even reversing the situation, it's not a possibility. And a good example is relationship, whether it's professional or at a personal level. Sometimes when you have a conflict in relationship and you don't just want to address it, whether it's a personal level. And you'll find most of the time then we say, wacha ikae, let it be. Let life continue, Why? Because we are not motivated. We don't have that interest. So whether it's at a professional or personal level, whenever you find you have a weakness and your mind is not psyched up, you're not feeling energetic, you're not feeling the need, you're not motivated, then all you'll be doing is wasting your time. So with those 3 questions, then I am sure now you'll be able, even as you look at yourself, as you audit yourself and see what are my weaknesses, you'll be able to see, should I pursue my weaknesses? Should I look at fixing them? Okay. So having dealt with that, then what are the advantages of focusing on your strengths? And I believe this is where you should spend a lot of your time on. The first reason why you should really focus on your strength is because you'll be more happier, confident, and less stressed. Why? Because most of the time, when you are trying to address our weaknesses, it's going uphill. We are playing against ourselves. I remember during COVID, I gained a lot of weight, and it's been a struggle. And whenever I ask people, how do you lose weight? What do you do? So some people will tell me, don't eat this, eat at certain hours, do this. I'll share this with you. I'm a fan of chapatis. And the day I go home and I find the prepared chapatis, and I've come thinking, no, I shouldn't be eating chapatis, that's the day I'll sit down and eat 5 chapatis. Don't judge me, but why? Because I'm focusing on my weakness. I mean, chapatis are my weakness. These sweet things are my weakness. And it has come in between me achieving my goal, but that's the reality. So what I've started to do now is, I'm not very tough. I don't say that I will not eat chapatis or sweet things. So what I do is, I've decided, let me eat small portions. So I'll still go have my half a chapati. And that way you find I'll not feel like I'm really struggling, and I don't stress myself. Because I would find I'm eating all those chapatis, and after I eat, then I'm stressed. I'm wondering, now what have I done? Couldn't I just have said no? So when you focus on your strength, you find you're more happier. Life becomes more easier. The second reason why you should focus on your strength is what I call the growth mindset. You'll have a growth mindset. Why? Because most of the time when you focus on our weaknesses, we are looking in the past. We are saying, well, I went in that interview, I wasn't confident. Or I was in this meeting, I didn't speak up. Or I've been so bad with money such that I know I will never be financially secure. Instead of looking for solutions. So the more you focus on your weaknesses, you tend, to see life in the negative. But when you focus on your strength, then it gives you power, it empowers you, and you remain hopeful about tomorrow and the day after, and about and your ability to make changes in your life. For example, if you're not very good at savings, but you find you're very good at earning money, then if I were in your shoes, what I do is I would focus on even increasing my ability to earn, and even as then I can start slowly addressing the areas where the money is going. Because a good example is, if you are earning 10,000 and you know how to save, and you're even able to save like 50% of your income, then that means at the end of the month you only remain with 5,000 shillings. However, if you are very good at what you do, you either go for promotions or you have these side hustles, and you're able to move your salary from 50,000 to 100,000. Now, if you're only able to save 30% as opposed to the 50% that this person is saving, you see, you'll be far ahead, because you will be saving 30,000, whereas this person will only be saving 5,000. So think positive, think about what is favoring you, and then address the other areas that you need to address. So as I conclude, I'll leave you with this study which was done in the year 2016, and what they found out was that at work, only 17% of people say that they spend most of their time playing to their strengths. So majority of the people are focused on fixing their weaknesses. So my advice to you is, start focusing on your strengths and not your weaknesses. But on the other hand, know your weaknesses and address them so that they don't hold you back.